Welcome to Freedom Speech and You, and I'm back again. We have a topic tonight: Trump, Trump being indicted again, and talking about a press conference. And honestly, I sent a link to myself, and I don't know where it is, so I'm going to have to find that again. So I'll hold that one off for a little while. We had some stuff come in. I guess the number one thing is, because Nick Rich doesn't stay always to the end of the show, is Nick Rich. They are speculating that there are Starlink launches coming up on Tuesday the 22nd in Vandenberg, California, in the early morning around 2 a.m. there. And it's not a given. And they've been speculating that there would be another Starlink mission here in Florida on the same date, but now they're showing it on the 23rd. And again, it's still speculation. So here's my take on this. The primary thing going on this week with SpaceX is the NASA SpaceX Crew 7 launch, 3:49 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Hi, Casper. Hi, Nick Rich. Hi, Andrea. The primary thing going on is that Crew 7 launch, and the crew has already arrived for that. And that is SpaceX's priority. So if anything is needing to be addressed with that Friday launch at 3:49 a.m. Eastern, 0749 UTC, and 0049 California time, so 49 minutes after midnight, what most people call Thursday into Friday, because a lot of people still reckon time based on sundials. So 49 minutes after midnight, as you leave Thursday and join into Friday. If you're in California, that's when you'll be watching it. Most people are not in Mountain Time, but it's 1:49 there. And there's a few people in Central Time that are watching here, potentially later. So 2:49 for them in the morning. Again, Thursday into Friday morning. So don't miss it. It's only going to go at the one time, unless it's not ready to go, unless something happens. Because it's going to the ISS, and ISS is instantaneous. Either it goes and hits the target or it doesn't. So there we go. That's the major launch this week. The others can fall by the wayside. I saw something looking possibly for the 29th, but again, that's not a confirmed. So we're going to wait and see. You're going to check your local sources if I can't get back to you and actually tell you. So I would like to look at something from Meet the Press this morning. Not the whole show, just a few clips. And I do have some stuff from Andrea, and I do have some stuff from Wes. So, Wes, if you add more stuff to Discord, please let me know. I did turn on a bell, but if you do add more stuff, I need to know. So here is the leading, at least lately, Biden surrogate, the guy that comes out and positively talks on Meet the Press. And he's talking, and he's going to talk about a Republican in So we're going to see what he's talking about. I'm feeling pretty good, Tina. Got a procedure tomorrow. After that, I don't know.
An unusual endorsement at the Iowa State Fair last week from a Democrat, Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota. Walz said, "I'm not a Republican," he told the New York Times, "and I'm not going to vote in the Republican primary. But if I did, I'd vote for him." Well, Walz was in Iowa as a surrogate for President Biden, and he joins us now representing the Biden campaign. Governor Walz, didn't mean to sandbag you there with your Doug Burgum endorsement, but you guys are neighboring governors. Quickly explain your working relationship with him.
Yeah, well, Doug is a friend, and it's kind of sad to me to hear that interview you did, which was a good one, asking all the hard questions. We've worked together on really important things that governors do, whether that's a flood diversion around Fargo to make sure that the seasonal floods of the Red River don't hit, and then agricultural issues. But
going to acknowledge Casper in case I didn't earlier. Good evening, Casper.
Look, Doug wouldn't answer the questions that need to be answered, and you were asking what's going to come out of this debate. The minute they all step on the stage.
And I'm going to acknowledge WW.
Stage, the American people have lost. Are they going to debate who can ban the most books? Who, Doug, he didn't tell you this, but he signed a 6-week abortion ban, which is hugely unpopular and simply wrong in America. So,
Nick Rich, a surrogate is a person who goes and speaks in place of the candidate because the candidate doesn't have time to go on his own. So that's what a surrogate is.
Yeah, we're friends, but I hate to see it go down this road. Those are very simple questions you were asking about the president, about the indictments. And so I was a little bit tongue in cheek. And the sad part is I do believe that Doug is probably the most normal of these. That's a pretty weird group of folks going to be on the debate stage. Doug's a pretty good guy, but he's trapped in a Republican Party with no ideas.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow stories and breaking news
so
by
basically,
downloading the NBC.
He was talking about his colleague in the same state. And it was just kind of a moment of levity, but it was kind of strange, But it shows that there are still people out there that go do things based on their camaraderie with their fellow things. So this one is Trump attacking judges.
A good Sunday morning. This week marks the unofficial kickoff of the next phase of the 2024 campaign, as at least 8 Republicans competing to take on Donald Trump will meet in Milwaukee for the first Republican debate. Trump plans to skip the debate and instead is reportedly counter-programming in an interview already taped with former Fox host Tucker Carlson. Of course, it used to be that extramarital affairs, campaign trail tears, forgetting a cabinet agency, even a weird scream could end a presidential campaign. Now Donald Trump has been criminally indicted 4 times in as many months, faces 91 felony counts, and still leads the Republican field nationally by nearly 40 points. And outside of New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who's polling at 3% in a new Quinnipiac poll, and to a degree is former Vice President Mike Pence, Trump's Republican opponents, for the most part, are declining to take him on directly.
We've done over 80 town halls in New Hampshire and Iowa. And Eric, not one of them are asking me about Trump. Not one of them are asking me why I'm running against him or anything else.
I think that these indictments are a disaster for the country. And I say this as somebody who just looked at the polls that have come out in the last 24 hours. I'm polling second in many of these national polls. It would be easier for me if Trump were eliminated from competition.
Instead, in a pre-debate memo from Ron DeSantis' super PAC, advises him to take a sledgehammer to Vivek Ramaswamy and to defend Trump if he inevitably attacks. Of course, the Republican candidates are terrified of alienating the voters that they'll need to win by criticizing Trump. But show us the campaign where an underdog beat a dominant frontrunner by not taking on said frontrunner directly. In an interview with the Florida Standard, DeSantis took a swipe at Trump's cult of personality inside the Republican Party. And the swipe immediately got Trump and his allies to lash out.
You could be the most conservative person since sliced bread. Unless you're kissing his rear end, they will somehow call you a rhino. If all we are is listless vessels that's just supposed to follow, whatever happens to come down the pike on Truth Social every morning, that's not going to be a durable movement.
So you're about to hear Chuck Todd say that this is the new catchphrase, listless vessels, that Trump is going to pick up on this, and it's going to be the new catchphrase because it is akin to basket of deplorables. But really what Ron DeSantis is talking about is he's talking about the other candidates, and he's talking about what's being said about himself. And they really are listless vessels. They are not offering any solutions. They are just saying, Trump is not the guy that should be in there. It seems so, because he's probably going to get prosecuted and maybe put away, or they're not touching it, like Vivek Ramaswamy. Or they're trying to say that their voters are not talking about it, like Nikki Haley. But they're really not offering anything. They're really just sitting back. They know that Donald Trump is not going to go to this debate. They're waiting for Donald Trump to fail, and then they're going to swoop in on each other and try to win the nomination. This is what they think. But Trump is not likely to fail, regardless of all the indictments. And because there is no law that says that he can't run, even though he's indicted and so forth, unless there is, when it comes to the state indictment in Georgia. So you're really seeing a scenario where Trump is likely to win the primary and run against Biden again, because Biden is the most viable candidate. So there we go. I mean, he's trying to say what he's trying to say here. He's walking the line. This line came from his PAC, but he's going to disassociate himself from his PAC. But we all know that he loves his PAC because he loves the money, and regardless of whatever you say, he's in line with the people giving him money.
Already this morning, the Trump campaign is trying to weaponize that phrase, listless vessels, trying to compare it to the famous basket of deplorables comment from Hillary Clinton in 2016. Trump is systematically right now attacking the prosecutors and judges in his cases, and there are new threats of violence. A Texas woman was charged with threatening to kill the federal judge overseeing the 2020 election case here in Washington, D.C. And Trump supporters posted the names and addresses of the members of the Georgia grand jury who brought back that indictment against Trump. And after promising a major news conference on Monday to release what he called would be an irrefutable report proving the 2020 election fraud, which of course has been debunked in dozens of court cases, on Thursday, Trump canceled the event. He cited the advice of lawyers. This is a reminder that anything he says in public could be used against him in a court of law. In a Quinnipiac poll this week, an overwhelming majority of Americans, 83%, said they are worried about the system of democracy being able to function here in the United States. President Biden was elected to restore the soul of the nation, in his words. A vote for Biden was said to be a vote to get rid of
Hello,
Trump.
Elizabeth.
Trump has made it clear he's not going anywhere, and he's still here. Now, just 24% of Americans say they want Biden to run again, and just 30% want Trump to run again. And as Trump has been indicted again and again and again and again, Biden has chosen against taking him on in any meaningful way right now. That choice, and the choice of top Republicans to stay silent, has left a massive moral vacuum in our fraying democracy. Who is defending the guardrails? This morning, the Biden campaign is defending the president's record in a new $25 million ad campaign, which will run across battleground states.
There are some who say America is failing, not Joe Biden. He believes our best days are ahead because he believes in the American people.
Those who bet against America are learning how wrong they are.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top story.
So what's going on with Biden is he's running a more traditional campaign. He's staying away from the DOJ topic. He's staying away from the topic of his son. And he's staying away from addressing the people who, despite the growing economy, are still feeling the pain of the economy in their personal pocketbooks. So what Biden really has to do is he has to get up and say that he supports the actions of the DOJ, that he is not involved in their decision-making process. And the American people should trust the DOJ. This is what he should say. He's not saying it. What he should say is, if my son, Hunter Biden, is guilty, then he should be prosecuted same as everyone else. The DOJ or the others are investigating him. He can stand up to the court of law, and I'm confident, Biden should say this, that everything is going to turn out well. But he doesn't. He stays away from it because apparently his campaigners don't want him to say this. And he's got to address something to do with the people that are not benefiting directly from the infrastructure plan, from the CHIPS Act, and the other things, because their jobs don't fall within those guidelines, or they don't live in the states where those things are making progress. He's got to address that, because if they continue to believe that they are on the losing side of the economy, they're not going to vote for him. Americans vote their pocketbook. They always do. Okay. This is the interesting thing that happened. And this is the way that some of the Republicans are acting. Governor Burgum, Republican presidential candidate, this is what he had to say about all things related to Trump that Chuck Todd asked him. So here we go. The one that's really going after Trump is Chris Christie. He's not high up in the polls, but he's not scared to go after Trump. And that really is what they should be doing.
It's been interesting to me in a couple of interviews, plus in the one we've just had now. You've been quite comfortable bringing up Hunter Biden on Joe Biden. But it's remarkable to me how uncomfortable you, and you're not alone here, you are bringing up the legal problems and the charges against Donald Trump. And I get it. It's fear of alienating a majority of where the party is. But it's sort of odd. Wouldn't somebody being charged with 91 criminal counts be somebody that you'd want to see drop out of the race? I mean, should they even be running for office?
Well, again, Chuck, this is the voters get to decide who runs for office in America, and whether it's a local election or whether it's a state or federal. The voters are the ones that ultimately get to decide. And again, if we're going to live in a democracy, at some point we've got to trust the voters.
I hear you on that, but it is interesting that you don't want to share your opinion on this. I think some voters will be frustrated by that.
Well, Chuck, again, everybody's at a different place. If I had 100% national name recognition, if I'd run for president before, if I was living in a major media market and everybody in the country knew me, that'd be a different spot. But when I know from the private sector, when we were launching our little company that we then built over a period of time into a $1 billion company, you don't start out by attacking the market share leader. You start by telling people what you've got to offer. You don't have a basis to launch that. And like I said, there'll be segment after segment on every channel this morning, all the pundits lined up. And I'm not running for pundit, I'm running for president.
Let me ask you this. Do you feel as if you should be adding your voice to defending citizens who essentially are part of the the law enforcement community, whether it's a threat against a federal judge that we heard from a woman in Texas, or the doxing of members of the Georgia grand jury. I mean, this is stuff that is trying to essentially shake the foundations of our legal system. Do you think you should be adding your name to denouncing those efforts?
Well, I think one thing we're adding our name to the list, a very small list of people in our giant country of people that are running for president. Because one thing I know is that if we're going to move back and move away from name calling and threats and all those things, that's not leadership. Leadership is about solving problems. Leadership is about character and integrity. Leadership is about bringing out the best of people. And it's about respect for others that have views different than you. That's why we're running. And absolutely, when I'm president, we're gonna lead with respecting everybody. We work for everybody. That's what we'll do. Again, right now, our job is to not be it's not the critic that counts. Theodore Roosevelt said it's the man in the arena. We're in the arena right now, and we're working hard to get to that spot. He's not going to be president.
He's running a past campaign.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories.
Okay, so he's just not going to win because, he's living in the past. I'm waiting for this video to play an ad. Skip the ad. Some of these videos that are not on YouTube are hard to deal with. Okay, so forget the source. The idea is to get a discussion of what Trump was saying, and this is a local news channel. I think, it's in Atlanta. Okay, good. So, and
completely exonerated.
News reporter Brittany Edney joins us now live with a rundown of his latest claims and statements. Brittany, the former president isn't holding back.
Yeah, that's an understatement. The former president is not one to stay quiet, especially.
Okay, so this is from 4 days ago.
On any of the 4 criminal cases he's currently facing. Over the past few hours, he's once again lashed out against Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis and also vowed to reveal proof to show all charges here in Georgia, he says, should be dropped.
Donald Trump claims is coming once he releases a, quote, large, complex, and detailed but irrefutable report on the presidential election fraud, adding he'll present it at a news conference next Monday in Bedminster, New Jersey. Governor Brian Kemp quickly responded to and slammed Mr. Trump's claims of a rigged election, tweeting, quote, the 2020 election in Georgia was not stolen. For nearly 3 years now, anyone with evidence of fraud has failed to come forward under oath and prove anything in the court of law. The 45th president also took yet another swing at Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, writing on Truth Social, quote, can you believe it? This failed district attorney from Atlanta, Fani Willis, where murders and other violent crimes soars daily to new record heights, is charging me with 2020 presidential election interference. No, Fani, the only election interference was done by those that rigged and stole the election.
The former president also attacked Willis in a newsletter this evening, saying in part, quote, the left-wing prosecutor orchestrating this latest witch hunt for Crooked Joe was caught intermixing her political fortunes with this case. From the live desk, I'm Brittany Edney, Fox 5 News.
All right.
Okay, so that was 4 days ago. That's what he was saying 4 days ago. And so now you have a framework for what he said. Fortunately, we didn't have to listen to his voice. That's really good. Anytime you don't have to listen to his voice, that's a plus. Okay. Got a few things from our producer. think I need to open another one because they got out of sequence. Yeah, they got out of sequence. Okay, let's see, where are we? Oh, so here's what's going on. Elon Musk is trying to remove the user blocking feature, and will it get him kicked off of Apple and Google app stores? So let's break it bigger because it's really small. So Elon Musk set off a firestorm Friday by announcing that Twitter, now called X, would delete the service's long-standing user blocking feature, raising the prospect that, as a result, the app could be booted from Apple and Google's app stores. Musk wrote, "Block is going to be deleted as a feature except for DMs. Makes no sense." Makes no sense to you, but a lot of us enjoy being able to block people because there's so many trolls out there. There are people that are stalking people. There's a lot going on out there. A person should be allowed to use X, or formerly Twitter, without being inundated with hateful posts from other people, without being tracked by someone that is abusive to them. And just in general, if they want to block somebody for whatever reason, they should be able to do so. It's available on every other social media. Soon after Musk made the claim, users announced his post by the platform's community notes. Put myself back in there. Soon after Musk made the claim, users announced his post via the platform's community notes feature, including links to Apple and Google's App Store guidelines, alleging Musk cannot eliminate the account blocking feature without running afoul of the rules. By Friday evening, however, the community notes fact check had been removed from Musk's post. According to Apple's App Store review guidelines, apps with user-generated content or social networking services must include the ability to block abusive users from this service. Similarly, Google Play's policies on restricted content say apps that contain or feature user-generated content must implement robust, effective, and ongoing UGC moderation that provides an in-app system for blocking UGC and users. Not sure what UGC means. So will the X app be banned from both Apple and Google if the account blocking feature is removed? Not necessarily. To Musk, what's needed in place of blocking is a stronger form of mute, as he's described it. Currently, the Twitter mute function simply hides individual accounts that you don't want to interact with from your timeline. In other words, such muted users are still able to see your posts and reply to them. What would a more robust mute button look like? Akid McDodd, a software engineer at X, suggested in the post we can make mute stronger, like not allow people you mute to reply or quote you. You can also transfer your block list to mute list. Echoing his boss, McDodd argued that the block feature is practically speaking useless. I disagree. Preventing an account from seeing your post does not work in practice. Anyone with any intent can find out your post by simply creating another account or logging out. Well, they can do that, but they have to create another account. And some of them don't know how. Christopher Stanley, head of security engineering at X and principal security engineer at Musk SpaceX, quoted McDodd's post and said, "People are definitely freaking out because They assume removing blocks means most of what they assume is incorrect, to which Musk replied, mayhem over nothing. Musk, dude, you are the mayhem over nothing. You didn't like people talking to you and doing what? So what did you do? You bought the platform so you could control it. I mean, dude, you are the epitome of the guy that gets pissed off when people say stuff that you don't like. The idea appears to be that X could make the case to Apple and Google that an enhanced mute button, super mute is a functional equivalent to user blocking. Thus would bring it into compliance with the App Store's requirements on this front. Whether that would fly, of course, is unknown. For now, Musk's unilateral decision about getting rid of account blocking raised enormous red flags among those who fear the change will eradicate a vital safety mechanism for reducing harassment and abuse on the platform. Yes, indeed. The harassed and abused and those who are trying to get away from those who they have a case against in court because of harassment and abuse need to be able to do so. Monica Lewinsky tagged Musk and others in a post Friday in which she asked them to please rethink removing the block feature. As an anti-bullying activist and a target of harassment, I can assure you it's a critical tool to keep people safe online. But Yacarino, who had led sales at NBC Universal before joining this social network, wrote back, our user safety on X is our number one priority, and we're building something better than the current state of block and mute. Please keep the feedback coming. Given the inevitable backlash, why does Musk want to do away with full account blocking? He's allegedly a free speech abolitionist, so presumably empowering users to block someone else from seeing their posts smacks of censorship. From a business perspective, the super mute feature would allow blocked users to continue to view the blocked posts, would expand the addressable ad inventory, and Musk needs every buck he can scrape up. There we go. It's all about the money. And he talks about the negative cash flow. And there you go. There's his stance on it. There is a user that responds on Twitter. User says, before you panic, a block feature is a requirement for social media apps to be published both in the App Store and Google Play. He's just having another tantrum because someone showed him in the back end how many people have him blocked. Yep, surely he is. And Andrea said, simply, Google Play says, no, you're not, or we have removed you from Google Play. So, you know, there's the idea that probably the thing is going to fall through. We don't really know. If I wanted to, I had the Meet the Press full broadcast, but I'm going to go into the stuff that Wes sent. So this is a video from the Las Vegas TV station.
I want to go now to NBC's Jake Ward, who's in.
That's actually from MSNBC.
Las Vegas. So I'm taking a look on my phone. I have a map on my phone that's kind of the track of this thing, right? And Las Vegas really kind of in the center of getting some of the most severe rain within this storm. You know, it just made landfall south of San Diego. What are the expectations there? What are you seeing? And the preparations in place for what is to come?
Well, it's really interesting, Yasmin, to be here. And I think it's important to try to articulate to people who may be from much rainier parts of the world where the ground is much more likely to soak up that water. It's very different here in Las Vegas. The place you are seeing behind me is a parking garage that just has the bad fortune to basically be at the drainage point off of the mountains. There is already about an inch of rain in the mountains.
So
which causes what is essentially an enormous bowl, the Las Vegas Valley, to drain to this point. Now, Las Vegas officials, the good news is, have put in extraordinary amounts of drainage. You can see here a storm drain system that is pouring all of this down underneath about a 10-block distance, which means it doesn't wind up on the Las Vegas Strip the way it did in 1999 and 2012. This is a tremendous improvement on what we had in the past. The problem, of course, is that because this is not a permeable place, this is one big bowl that can really hold the water. As a result, this water you see flowing through here can really rise very quickly with only an inch or two of rainfall. This is a region, Yasmin, as you know, that really only gets a handful of inches of rain every year. This is a desert environment. And as a result, when only 1 or 2 inches hit, you can get into a place where the water rises right above where I'm standing and begins to float vehicles away. It's an enormous problem. I would also point out here that, you know, this is a place that we're just seeing some weird new stuff. The fact that I'm standing to you right now in a place that should be 115 degrees, this should be hell on earth right now. You look at me and you say, oh, correspondent in a rain jacket, that's all pretty normal. It is not normal for Las Vegas. Right now, it should be so hot I could not wear this thing. And yet it's only 72 degrees. It's 40 degrees colder than it should be at this time of year. So that, I think, is leading officials to talk about this as being very unprecedented. It's why this water, which is fine for the moment, is of concern to officials here. And it's why a declaration of emergency has been put into place and why state officials and city officials are saying, stay home and ride this one out, Yasmin.
All right.
So you heard what he said, 40 degrees cooler than normal because of this rain that is so unusual for Las Vegas because of Hurricane Hillary. It really is changing the dynamics of the weather there. So that's what's going on. The rest of that video is going to be obviously the outro, and we don't need to watch that. Wes sent me a short video about the super blue moon. So we have some astronomy. This one is supposed to be narrated, so hopefully it is. Otherwise, I'm going to have to pull the audio out because it might have music. So let's see.
The biggest and the brightest moon of the year is coming, and you should not miss this opportunity. Skygazers will be treated to a rare astronomical event when a super blue moon rises with Saturn on August 30th and 31st. A super blue moon is a celestial event that combines two interesting lunar phenomena, the supermoon and the blue moon. But what makes the super blue moon of 2023 so special is that it's going to take place on the day around which Saturn will be at its closest distance to Earth and appear just a few degrees away from the moon in the sky. But first, to understand what a super blue moon is, it's essential to unpack these two terms individually and then bring them together. The term supermoon describes a full moon that appears larger and brighter in the sky than a typical full moon. But why does this size and brightness variation happen? Well, the moon orbits the Earth in an elliptical or slightly oval trajectory. This means that there are points during its orbit when it's closer to the Earth, its perigee, and points when it's farther away, its apogee. A supermoon occurs when a full moon coincides closely with the perigee, making it appear about 14% larger and 30% brighter than when it's at its farthest point or during a micromoon. Next, we have a blue moon. The phrase "once in a blue moon" denotes a rare event, and this saying draws inspiration from the infrequency of blue moons. Contrary to its name, a blue moon doesn't mean the moon turns blue. Instead, the term blue moon has historically been used to describe unusual lunar events. The most common definition of a blue moon is the second full moon in a calendar month with 2 full moons. Typically, each month has only 1 full moon, but given the moon cycle is about 29.5 days, there's a small window for a second one to squeeze into a single calendar month. This happens approximately once every 2.7 years. There's also a lesser-known, older definition of a blue moon. It's the third full moon in a season that has 4 full moons. Traditionally, each season, between a solstice and equinox, has 3 full moons, 1 for each month. But on rare occasions, a season will contain 4 full moons, and the third of those is dubbed a blue moon. So combining the above phenomena, a super blue moon happens when the second full moon of a month, or the third in a 4 full moon season, coincides with the moon's closest approach to Earth, perigee. The result is a moon that's not only larger and brighter than usual, but also has the added distinction of being a blue moon. This occurrence is even rarer than either a supermoon or a blue moon on their own. To the naked eye, a super blue moon will primarily be notable for its size and brightness. Remember, it won't actually look blue. The actual color of the moon can be affected by atmospheric conditions on Earth. For instance, after volcanic eruptions or significant wildfires, the moon can sometimes take on a bluish or even reddish hue due to particles in the atmosphere. However, this coloring is not directly related to the term blue moon. The super blue moon of 2023 will rise on August 30th, and its full phase will occur at 9:35 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, or 1:35 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time on August 31st. So the night of August 30th to 31st is when the moon will be at its closest to Earth. According to NASA, the moon will be about 357,000 kilometers, or about 220,000 miles away. That's 27,000 kilometers, or about 17,000 miles closer to Earth than average. It's a blue moon because it's the second full moon of August 2023. When you gaze at the moon on the night of August 30th, you'll notice a bright speck of light close to it. It's not a star, but the ringed planet Saturn.
Good night, Nick Rich.
Marks the day of conjunction of the moon and Saturn in Aquarius. The two celestial bodies will be just a few degrees apart as seen in the sky. What's even more remarkable is that Saturn will be around its opposition around the super blue moon. The term opposition in astronomy is used to describe the position of a celestial body when it is directly opposite the sun in the sky as viewed from Earth. In other words, the Earth is located directly between that celestial body and the sun. The term is often used in reference to outer planets in our solar system, especially when discussing their visibility from our planet. When it comes to Saturn, or any outer planet, reaching its opposition means that it is at its closest approach to Earth for that year, making it an ideal time for observation. At opposition, Saturn rises in the east as the sun sets in the west, and it sets in the west as the sun rises in the east. This means that the planet is visible in the sky for the entire night. Because Saturn is opposite the Sun from our perspective and relatively close to Earth at this time, it reflects sunlight directly back, making it brighter than at other times of the year. The rings of Saturn, if tilted favorably, can add to this brilliance. For amateur astronomers and enthusiasts, the opposition of Saturn represents the best time to view the planet through a telescope. Not only is Saturn brighter, but its close proximity means that it appears larger in the eyepiece, allowing for clearer details of its rings and possibly some of its moons. It provides an excellent opportunity for clear, detailed observations, as well as beautiful photographic moments for astrophotographers. You may download one of the space apps given in the description to quickly locate the planets in the sky according to your place. Don't confuse Jupiter with Saturn, as they both are well up in the sky after midnight. Jupiter rises a few hours after Saturn, and in the absence of Venus, it's the brightest speck of light in the night sky. On the night of August 30th and 31st, it'll be noticeably distant from the super blue moon. So, happy sky gazing! And if you want regular astronomy and space updates, make sure to subscribe to our channel, The Secrets of the Universe.
Okay, so that's where it came from. That's where Wes got it. It's called The Secrets of the Universe. If the other one's got more music on it, I can't really preview it. I'm sitting here at 49 minutes. I guess I could try. It's not that much. One of the things that seems different about this one is that though it starts with August 1st, so it's starting with stuff that has already happened. So I don't think I'll go through that one. I think we'll stick with the one we have and hope that we didn't get a copyright strike for that minimal music in there. So I could go through a long thing. Like last week, I had these emails, but really I'd like to know what you want to talk about for the next approximately 10 minutes, rather than, going through the stuff. And Wes is into his postulating again. And you're in the sticks, says Elizabeth, would be able to see it, but nothing like stargazing from Yosemite or Star Lakes or Kennedy Meadows. Yeah. I mean, anywhere you're away from sources of light is called light pollution, is a good thing. First time I ever saw the ISS, I was in the middle of Virginia at my father-in-law's house and was able to look up at the ISS because he pointed it out. And I was like, that's fascinating. I've seen it actually from here, again, because I learned that it was going over. Most of the time I'm not up tracking it, but obviously if I'm out there doing something at the time that it's going on, I'm going to look for it. Certainly when I'm outside and a rocket goes up, I have a chance to look for it, or I look out my window. Andrea's voice is healing. I don't know if that's a joke or not, but we would like for Andrea's voice to heal. And that is the reason why I'm here, because Andrea does not have a voice this evening. Other than that, it's just the idea of being here for you and doing a show while I can. Not a joke, he says. Interesting. Okay. So we do hope Andrea feels better soon. How am I feeling? I'm feeling pretty good right now. I had told you that all the fevers had gone away, but they've come back. They're not as frequent, and they're not as high. So this is still rearing its ugly head, so to speak, and it is that big now. There's a chemo coming up. Hopefully the chemo is going to make it smaller. The first chemo did seem to help somewhat, I think. And I think the first chemo becoming effective on a certain date kind of kicked out the overall heat wave that I was having. Of course, the other thing was just managing the fevers, the low-grade fevers, taking half a Tylenol instead of a whole or two, because taking two when you have a really bad headache is a good idea, but taking two when you have a minor fever is a dumb idea, because it's going to get rid of your fever and make you sweat. You're going to sweat all out. You got to take the right amount of dosage, and that's when my doctor taught me to control what you have. Yeah, it's big. It is the very first thing that appeared that let me know that there was something wrong. And it is there. There's cancer in the lymph nodes there, and it's got to be treated with chemo. It's got to come down before radiation can treat it. That's the process. I have a procedure tomorrow that's going to determine more about where my cancer came from and where it spread from. And pray for me for that. Send the positive vibes. It's a procedure that is going to put me under. And so that's what's going on. And hopefully everything works out with that. I still have wound care going on. I still have a doctor visit before the next chemotherapy. And so there you go. I mean, there's all that. Wishing you all the best for tomorrow. Thank you very much, Casper. Thank you, Elizabeth. So we're looking at like about 5 more minutes of this. I do need to take some medicine at some point here that has to be taken before bedtime. So that timing is going to come up at the end of the show. What's the length of the show outro? Show outro is 2:12, so we'll be in chat for about 2:12. I'll be sending healing vibes, says Elizabeth. You do believe in THC and CBD, WW, but the problem is I have a job that is with the state of Florida, and so I can't take those things because they are not federally allowed, and that's the guideline that they use to fire people. So I can't take those things. When I'm not employed, I can, but I can't now. I do understand the value of those things, and I know people that take them, and I'm glad that you have them, and it's a much better choice than some of the man-made medicines. Yep, still working, trying to keep working. Don't really know what's going to happen in the upcoming future. So there's that. And there is there's a referral coming to Moffett in Tampa at some point. Had to get in touch with them the other day because it was sent to the general fax, and it had to be sent to the fax for new patients. So I contacted my doctor's office and gave them the information, and they sent it over. So I will be going to see Moffett at some point, getting another opinion, and thereby knowing that I'm doing the right things. I don't know if that means I have to go there to get things done because they only have certain procedures and things there. I don't know if I have to go to them after I get to a certain phase, or I don't know if they'll just simply recommend the stuff I'm already doing. So we'll just have to see. But that's one of the things that's going to happen. So roughly, let's see, we're getting down to the end of the show. Elizabeth says, you're much love. Kenneth, wish you would come to Stanford, Massachusetts, or Stanford, California, because I think there's a city or institution in both. You know, if money was no object, you could go anywhere. Obviously, those people that are rich can go anywhere. Hey, KO, says Trucker John. Good evening. Hey, I watched your show the other day, Trucker John, but I wasn't in the chat because I was busy doing things. So I was watching, and just want to let you know that I am watching your show and giving likes. And so that's going on. But sometimes I just can't chat. When I'm at work, I got to do stuff. Happy to see you, Ken, says Jim. Didn't think you'd be on today. I'm on today, Jim, because Andrea didn't have a voice. And I'm on today because I wanted to be on before my procedure in case it takes my voice away for a while. So we'll see what happens with that. But mainly it was just the idea of reaching out to you and giving you guys about an hour. So here we are. We're just about at the end of the hour. And I'm going to run the outro tonight, and y'all can chat together as we close out this show. And I hope you had a really good evening. Hope you enjoyed the show. I really enjoyed our contributions from Andrea and from Wes, or as he sometimes calls himself, WW. And it was good to have those. It was good to not have to simply concentrate on what I watched this morning. I did watch Meet the Press this morning, but as you see, I only went over about 3 things. And I think that was the main thing, to go over a few things of what I wanted to go over, and to really go over the stuff that the show is about, to cover the topics that you want to cover. So if you missed the whole show, come back in, okay, and watch it again and share it with others. And with that, I'm going to close it out. Nick Rich is already gone, but I'm hoping and praying we have a good Crew 7 launch this week. Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for the love. And I might actually be up and watching it. And those people that are in the California region and the Hawaii region and the Las Vegas region that are having all these odd weather events, my hearts are with you. I mean, it's good in a way for Vegas to cool off, but it's probably really weird for it to be 40 degrees cooler than normal. And flooding is not really a good thing in a desert. So is it really good? I don't think so. I think it's better if the communities stay at their norms or closer to their norms. And we have all these other things going on, these train wrecks. We have Franklin approaching Florida. We have or nearby. We have a new investigation out there off the coast of Florida to Florida's immediate south and west. We have a tropical depression, I believe. No, we have something unnamed. And we have another tropical storm, Emily, out there. So we've got all this stuff going on out there. We've got tropicals over here on this side of the world that we have to possibly concern ourselves with in the coming days. So stay safe, everyone. If you're dealing with the radical weather, adjust to it, stay safe. And if you're unfamiliar with it, please watch the news reports so you know what to do with everything going on. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. And we will see you next week. Either Andrea will be on and I will be chatting, hopefully, or I will be on again. We don't know. We just got to wait and tune in and see. Thanks very much. Good night. This is Freedom Speech and You, and you're the you that makes it worthwhile. Thank you very much. Good night.